When every major Western telescope suddenly went dark, the silence was deafening. Only China kept watching, and what they saw changed everything. Their exclusive images of 3I/ATLAS reveal patterns too precise to be natural, as if the object itself was responding, adjusting, controlling its own path. Coincidence? Or intelligence at work in deep space? Let's dive right in. When every Western telescope went dark, astronomers thought it was a glitch, a rare coincidence in timing. But coincidences don't happen at this scale. Within minutes, Hubble, James Webb, Gemini South, and the VLT all stopped transmitting live data. Screens froze mid-frame. Observation logs were locked. For a field that thrives on transparency, that silence felt unnatural. But halfway across the planet, things looked very different. In the mountains of Yunnan and the deserts of Xinjiang, Chinese observatories kept tracking the same object the rest of the world had lost. A fast-moving visitor called 3I/ATLAS, the third interstellar object ever recorded. Their instruments stayed online, powered by an AI-assisted network designed to work autonomously even during global network failures. While the world's eyes went blind, China kept watching, and what they saw would change everything. At first, Chinese scientists thought they were seeing interference, a faint pulse barely visible against the star field. But when it repeated with perfect regularity, their curiosity turned to disbelief. The signal came from 3I/ATLAS itself, not from the background sky. Every few hours, the comet's brightness rose and fell, as if following a heartbeat. Ordinary comets don't do that. They spin, they flare, they sublimate, but never with such rhythm. 3 separate observatories confirmed the same timing pattern, eliminating equipment error. The data hinted at controlled photometric modulation, meaning something inside the object was influencing how it reflected light. Across internal reports from the National Space Science Center, one phrase kept appearing: the object displays self-regulating luminous behavior. Meanwhile, in the US and Europe, the blackout continued. NASA called it system recalibration. The European Space Agency said thermal maintenance. But multiple engineers later admitted those updates were unscheduled, pushed remotely across different systems within the same hour. It was as if the entire Western observation network had been synchronized to go dark. Independent astronomers grew frustrated, observation slots were cancelled, data archives delayed. And at the very moment 3I/ATLAS approached its brightest phase, the window scientists had waited months for, the world's leading telescopes simply stopped looking. That vacuum left one country in full control of the sky. Then came the shock. China's National Astronomical Observatory suddenly published a series of high-resolution frames. Each image bore timestamps that overlapped perfectly with the Western blackout. They showed 3I/ATLAS in sharp detail, its glowing coma, asymmetric jets, and a strange spiraling halo that seemed almost organized. The global community was stunned. How did these observatories stay online when every Western system went offline? And more importantly, why did the light appear to flicker in a pattern no natural comet should produce? Further analysis revealed that these fluctuations aligned with moments when Earth-based radar systems were transmitting toward the same region of space. To put it plainly, each time humanity sent out a signal, the object's brightness changed, as if it noticed. This wasn't wild speculation. Chinese and European data both showed the same intervals. 11-minute brightness pulses, 3 times per 6-hour cycle. At first, scientists assumed rotation, but the math didn't add up. The intervals were too even, too intentional. NASA's leaked internal memo later described the pattern as consistent with active modulation. In other words, something inside the object was controlling its light output. Was this a coincidence of physics, or a response to human observation? That question split the scientific world in two. Some argued it was simply complex chemistry, sublimating ice and carbon compounds reacting to sunlight. Others saw it as evidence of an underlying system, possibly artificial, or at least organized beyond random chance. Weeks later, the story deepened. Infrared and optical composites revealed thin ridges beneath the object's surface, a repeating geometric structure forming a spiral grid. At first, experts dismissed it as digital noise, but the same structure appeared in unprocessed raw data from multiple observatories. This wasn't random geology. It looked engineered. Even more puzzling, the comet didn't behave thermally like any known body. Instead of heating under sunlight, its temperature stayed stable, cooling when exposed, warming when shaded. It was, in effect, regulating its own energy. No known natural process fits that pattern so precisely. NASA's deep space radar confirmed short bursts of motion inconsistent with normal gas jets. Each microburst adjusted its trajectory slightly, the way a probe might correct its path. It wasn't drifting, it was steering. The discovery triggered something far beyond science. For decades, Western observatories had led the search for cosmic truth. Now, the data, the proof, belonged to China. International requests for access to raw images were denied under national security protocols. Western agencies scrambled to re-establish contact with their own satellites, but by the time data resumed, the critical window had passed. The world's first clear look at an interstellar visitor showing possible controlled behavior was now an exclusive Chinese achievement. This wasn't just about 3I/ATLAS anymore. It was about who controls the narrative of discovery. Science had become a geopolitical asset. By late October, something even stranger emerged. As 3I/ATLAS neared the Sun, astronomers expected it to disintegrate under heat and pressure. Instead, it slowed down, defying gravitational modeling entirely. Thermal scans showed no signs of melting or breakup. Instead, it appeared to redistribute heat internally, as if managing its own stability. A comet that refuses to burn, a traveler that corrects its path. The behavior screamed artificial control. Even NASA's Deep Space Network recorded radar echoes confirming deliberate thrust bursts, short, directional, and timed with remarkable accuracy. The agency's internal assessment described them as non-natural accelerations. That phrase alone sent shockwaves through the astrophysics community. Could it be a probe, a relic, a vessel? No one had answers, but the longer it remained stable, the less likely it seemed to be just a rock. While public discussion exploded online, major space agencies quietly began to adapt. China announced a new program, Tianqian-2, an orbital observatory dedicated to monitoring interstellar visitors. In Washington, NASA and the European Union fast-tracked Project Horizon, a network of distributed telescopes designed so that no single outage could silence them all. For the first time, the race for space observation wasn't about who could go farther, but who could keep watching when the rest go dark. Astronomy had entered a new era, one defined not by exploration, but by access. As 3I/ATLAS drifts beyond Mars' orbit, its pulse continues, faint, steady, deliberate. Every few hours, the same rhythm repeats, unwavering. No one can say for sure whether it's random, reactive, or intentional. But one fact is clear. This object has challenged every assumption we've held about interstellar visitors. If it's not natural, then what force guides it? And if it is reacting to us, what exactly is it trying to say? In a universe that's always watched us from silence, 3I/ATLAS may be the first to look back, And for humanity, that realization might be even more unsettling than the discovery itself. So, here's where the mystery stands. An interstellar traveler that refuses to behave like a comet, slows against gravity, and pulses as if it's alive. The West fell silent. China captured the only proof, and the data now points to something that might be controlled. But controlled by what? By whom? Or could it be reacting to us? Whatever 3I/ATLAS truly is, one thing's certain: it's rewritten the rules of the universe and reminded us how little we actually know. Maybe it's not just passing through. Maybe it's observing. If the sky is trying to talk, are we ready to listen? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think 3I/ATLAS is natural or intelligent? Hit subscribe, like, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Stay tuned. Our next report on Galactic breaking news dives into what could be the next interstellar signal and why it might already be heading toward us.